Chapter 1: The Hidden Side of Health After 50. When people think about health, especially after the age of 50, the first thing that usually comes to mind is weight. For decades, society has drilled into us the belief that the number on the bathroom scale is the ultimate measure of wellness. We hear phrases like "watch your weight," "lose a few pounds," or "keep your BMI in check." Entire industries, from diets to supplements, are built around the idea that weight equals health. But here's the truth most people don't realize: weight alone tells only a small part of the story. Behind the scenes, something much more important is happening in your body. It's called metabolic health. Your metabolism isn't just about how fast or slow you burn calories. It's the orchestra conductor of your entire body, regulating how your cells use energy, how your hormones stay in balance, how your blood sugar rises and falls, and even how your immune system responds to threats. Metabolic health determines whether your body can keep inflammation in check, whether your blood pressure stays normal, whether your arteries remain flexible, and whether your brain cells have the fuel they need to stay sharp. And here's where things get interesting: you might be surprised to learn that someone who appears slim and fit on the outside can still be metabolically unhealthy, while another person carrying extra pounds might actually have excellent internal markers of health. This disconnect between appearance and function becomes even more important after 50. Why? Because by midlife, the stakes get much higher. Hormonal shifts, age-related muscle loss, slower repair systems, and decades of accumulated lifestyle habits all begin to show their effects. Suddenly, poor metabolic health doesn't just mean a little fatigue, it drives many of the most common and devastating age-related conditions. Type 2 diabetes, heart disease and stroke, dementia and Alzheimer's disease, certain cancers, fatty liver disease, osteoporosis and frailty. The scale can't measure how inflamed your blood vessels are. It can't tell you how sensitive your cells are to insulin. It can't reveal how much hidden visceral fat you may be carrying around your organs, silently raising your risk of chronic disease. And it certainly doesn't reflect how resilient your mitochondria, the tiny energy factories in your cells, remain as you age. But these invisible markers of metabolic health define whether you're truly thriving after 50, or whether you're quietly moving toward decline, even if you look healthy on the outside. This is why experts are now saying something revolutionary: metabolic health matters more than your weight. And once you understand that shift, it changes the way you see your body, your choices, and your future. Chapter 2: What exactly is metabolic health? To really understand why this matters, let's break down what metabolic health actually means. Most people think metabolism is simply about how quickly you burn calories. You might hear someone say, "I have a slow metabolism, that's why I gain weight," or "my metabolism is fast, so I can eat whatever I want." But metabolism is far more complex. It's the sum total of every chemical process in your body that keeps you alive. Your metabolism controls how your body converts food into usable energy, how your cells respond to hormones like insulin and cortisol, how your liver, muscles, and fat tissue store or release fuel, how your body repairs itself and fights inflammation. So what does it mean to be metabolically healthy? Doctors typically look at 5 key criteria. Normal blood sugar, meaning you're not insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. Healthy triglycerides and cholesterol levels, showing that your blood fats are in balance and your arteries are protected. Normal blood pressure, without relying on medication to keep it down. Optimal waist circumference, indicating that you're not carrying too much visceral fat around your organs. No signs of fatty liver or chronic inflammation. If all 5 of these are in the normal range, your metabolism is working smoothly. But if one or more is off, it means your system is struggling. And you may be moving toward metabolic dysfunction. Here's the shocking reality: by age 50, only about 12% of American adults are metabolically healthy. That means nearly 9 out of 10 people over 50 are living with some degree of hidden metabolic issues, often without even realizing it. Think about that: most people who walk into a doctor's office at 55, 60, or 65 may look fine, but inside, their metabolism is already out of balance. The problem is, unlike weight, which is visible every time you step on a scale, metabolic health is often hidden. You could be slim but still insulin resistant. You could be exercising regularly but still carry high triglycerides. You could eat what looks like a healthy diet but still have elevated blood pressure or fatty liver. And here's the most dangerous part: these imbalances can chip away at your vitality for years before obvious symptoms appear. That's why heart attacks, strokes, or diabetes diagnoses often feel like they come out of nowhere. In reality, they're the end result of years of silent metabolic decline. Understanding metabolic health means moving beyond cosmetic numbers and looking into the true functioning of your body. It's not about how you look, it's about how you work. Chapter 3: The Aging Metabolism, Why It Changes After 50. Now let's talk about why metabolism becomes more fragile after 50. The answer isn't simple, it's the result of several biological shifts that all add up. 1. Loss of muscle mass, sarcopenia. Starting around age 40, adults begin to lose about 1% of their muscle mass every year, unless they actively counteract it with strength training and adequate protein intake. This doesn't sound like much, but over 20 years, it adds up to a major loss of strength and tissue. Why does this matter for metabolism? Because muscle is your body's largest site for glucose storage. When you eat carbohydrates, your muscles act like a sponge, soaking up glucose and keeping your blood sugar stable. With less muscle, that sponge shrinks, and blood sugar lingers longer in your bloodstream, creating insulin resistance. 2. Hormonal shifts. For women, menopause brings a sharp decline in estrogen. Estrogen isn't just a reproductive hormone, it plays a key role in fat distribution, cholesterol balance, and insulin sensitivity. Without it, women are more prone to belly fat, higher cholesterol, and metabolic syndrome. For men, testosterone levels decline more gradually, but the effect is similar: less muscle, more belly fat, lower energy, and slower metabolism. These hormonal changes make it harder to stay lean and harder to maintain stable metabolic function. 3. Mitochondrial decline. Mitochondria are the tiny power plants inside your cells that turn food into usable energy. As we age, they become less efficient, producing fewer units of energy and creating more oxidative stress in the process. This contributes to fatigue, slower recovery, and higher risk of age-related disease. 4. Chronic stress and cortisol. Think about how many decades of stress your body has carried by the time you're 50. Work deadlines, financial worries, family obligations, global uncertainties, all of these keep cortisol, the stress hormone, elevated. Chronic cortisol raises blood sugar, increases belly fat, disrupts sleep, and inflames the body, all of which erode metabolic health. 5. Lifestyle accumulation. Finally, there's the cumulative effect of lifestyle. Years of processed food, alcohol, lack of sleep, smoking, or inactivity take their toll. You might get away with it in your 20s or 30s, but by 50, the metabolic consequences show up in blood work, waistlines, and energy levels. Together, these changes make it much harder to maintain stable blood sugar, healthy cholesterol, and normal blood pressure. The body becomes less forgiving, meaning that habits that didn't seem harmful at 30 can cause major consequences at 55. The takeaway is this: after 50, metabolic health doesn't suddenly decline overnight, it's the result of decades of habits colliding with the natural biology of aging. Chapter 4: Why Weight Alone Misleads Us. We live in a culture obsessed with weight. From glossy magazines to doctor's visits, the number on the bathroom scale has been positioned as the ultimate indicator of health. How much do you weigh is often the first question people ask themselves when evaluating their well-being. But here's the hard truth: weight alone is a very poor reflection of your actual health, especially after 50. Let's break down why. 1. Extreme dieting can backfire. It's possible to lose weight quickly by slashing calories or following extreme fad diets. Yes, the scale goes down, but what's actually being lost? Often, it's not just fat, it's muscle. And muscle is metabolic gold. Losing it makes blood sugar harder to control, reduces strength and mobility, and speeds up aging. In other words, you can weigh less but be metabolically weaker and more fragile. 2. The danger of visceral fat. Thin individuals aren't always healthy. Some people carry fat invisibly around their organs, called visceral fat. Unlike subcutaneous fat under the skin, visceral fat is biologically active. It pumps out inflammatory chemicals, contributes to insulin resistance, and can even invade the liver, leading to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You may look slim in the mirror but have dangerously high internal fat. Doctors even coined a term for this, TOFI, thin outside, fat inside. It describes people with a normal body weight but poor metabolic markers. These individuals face the same risks for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and dementia as someone who is visibly overweight. 3. The flip side, a healthy overweight. On the other hand, some people who are technically overweight by BMI may actually be metabolically healthy. If they stay physically active, eat nutrient-dense foods, maintain strong muscles, and keep their blood markers in check, their bodies are resilient. Their cardiovascular and metabolic systems are protected even if their gene size is larger than average. 4. What the scale doesn't measure. The bathroom scale can't tell you if your arteries are inflamed, if your pancreas is struggling to keep up with insulin demands, or if your mitochondria are slowing down. It doesn't reveal how much hidden visceral fat you carry or whether your blood vessels are flexible or stiff. These invisible factors are what truly predict longevity, not your body weight alone. 5. Shifting the mindset. After 50, focusing on metabolic health instead of just weight is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make. It changes the goal from how light can I get, to how strong, stable, and resilient can I become. Here's the bottom line, the number on the scale is superficial. What matters more is whether your body is inflamed or calm, insulin resistant or insulin sensitive, fragile or resilient. That's the hidden side of health, and the one that determines how well you'll age. Chapter 5. The Metabolic Syndrome Trap. When multiple aspects of metabolic health go off balance, the body enters a state called metabolic syndrome. It isn't one single disease, it's a cluster of conditions that act as a massive warning sign. Think of it as your body waving a big red flag, shouting, "Pay attention, your system is breaking down." What defines metabolic syndrome? Doctors diagnose it when at least 3 of these 5 markers are present. High blood pressure, a silent strain on your arteries and heart. High fasting blood sugar, a sign of insulin resistance and prediabetes. High triglycerides, too much fat circulating in your blood. Low HDL cholesterol, meaning less good cholesterol to protect your heart. Excess waist circumference, belly fat wrapping around vital organs. It doesn't sound too bad when you read the list, right? But in reality, this combination is a dangerous storm. Why is it so serious? Because each factor amplifies the risk of chronic disease. Together, they dramatically increase your chances of type 2 diabetes, heart attack or stroke, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, Alzheimer's and dementia, certain cancers. In fact, some studies suggest that metabolic syndrome can double or even triple your risk of cardiovascular death. The silent epidemic. Here's the scary part, over 40% of adults over 50 have metabolic syndrome. And many don't even know it. Why? Because each of these markers can creep up slowly, without obvious symptoms. Blood sugar may rise silently for years. Blood pressure can increase without causing pain. Belly fat builds gradually. By the time complications show up, the damage may already be underway. The real takeaway. This is why obsessing over the scale is so misleading. You could weigh normally and still meet the criteria for metabolic syndrome. On the flip side, you could carry extra pounds but keep your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar in check and avoid the syndrome entirely. What's more useful than stepping on a scale? Regular blood tests, waist measurements, and blood pressure checks. These reveal your true internal health story. They uncover what the mirror cannot. Chapter 6. Nutrition, Fueling Metabolic Health. If there's one factor you can control every single day that has the most direct effect on metabolic health, it's food. Food isn't just calories, it's information. Every bite you take sends signals to your genes, your hormones, your gut bacteria, and your cells. It either pushes your body toward inflammation and insulin resistance, or pulls it toward balance and resilience. After 50, this becomes more important than ever because your metabolism is less forgiving. You can't get away with it like you did at 25. Every food choice has a bigger impact. So how do you fuel metabolic health instead of sabotaging it? Let's break it down. 1. Prioritize protein. Muscle is the engine of metabolism, and protein is the building block of muscle. Getting enough protein helps preserve lean mass, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you full longer. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Examples include eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken, fish, tofu, or legumes. Pairing protein with fiber-rich foods further reduces glucose spikes after eating. 2. Cut ultra-processed foods. Refined carbs, sugary drinks, and industrial seed oils are the biggest drivers of metabolic damage. They spike blood sugar, promote insulin resistance, and inflame the gut. If there's one rule to follow, eat foods as close to their natural state as possible. Real food doesn't come in shiny packages with long ingredient lists. 3. Eat more fiber. Fiber is the unsung hero of metabolic health. It slows digestion, flattens blood sugar spikes, improves gut microbiome balance, and lowers cholesterol. Where do you find it? Vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Think of fiber as fuel for your good bacteria. A thriving gut leads to calmer inflammation and better metabolic control. 4. Choose healthy fats. Not all fats are created equal. Healthy fats are crucial for brain, heart, and hormone health. Omega-3s from fish, flax seeds, and walnuts lower inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil supports vascular health and longevity. Avocados provide monounsaturated fats and potassium. Avoid trans fats and limit heavily processed vegetable oils, they inflame your cells and disrupt metabolism. 5. Balance carbs wisely. Carbs are not the enemy, but the type and timing matter. Whole, complex carbs like quinoa, oats, beans, and sweet potatoes digest slowly and provide steady energy. Refined carbs like white bread, pastries, and sugary snacks cause rapid spikes and crashes. Another strategy, pair carbs with protein or fat to slow absorption. For example, have apple slices with almond butter instead of just an apple. 6. Time your eating. After 50, your metabolism often benefits from periods of rest. Practices like intermittent fasting or simply avoiding late-night snacking can improve insulin sensitivity, give your digestive system a break, and support better sleep. Even a simple adjustment like finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and not eating again until breakfast gives your body a 12 to 14-hour overnight reset. 7. Hydrate smarter. Don't underestimate beverages. Sugary sodas, sweetened teas, and even too much fruit juice are silent saboteurs. Swap them for water, sparkling water, or unsweetened herbal teas. If you enjoy coffee or green tea, they can even support metabolism when consumed moderately. Chapter 7. Movement, the metabolic reset button. When most people think of exercise, they imagine it as a way to burn calories or lose weight. But after 50, the true magic of movement lies not in the calorie count, but in its ability to reset your metabolism. Exercise communicates directly with your cells, teaching them how to use energy more efficiently, reducing inflammation, and even slowing the biological clock. Think of movement as a master switch that tells your body, stay young, stay resilient, stay alive. Strength training, building your metabolic engine. After 50, muscle mass naturally declines, a process called sarcopenia. Without intervention, this can mean losing up to 30 to 40% of muscle strength by age 70. Why does this matter for metabolism? Because muscle is your most metabolically active tissue. Glucose storage, muscles act like sponges, soaking up blood sugar and storing it for later use. The more muscle you have, the less likely glucose is to remain in your bloodstream where it can damage vessels. Insulin sensitivity, muscle contraction itself improves insulin function, meaning your cells respond better to insulin and need less of it. Metabolic rate, even at rest, muscle burns more energy than fat. So building muscle raises your baseline metabolism, your body's idling speed. Practical tip: just 2 to 3 sessions of strength training per week can make a profound difference. You don't need heavy barbells or fancy gyms. Bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, or light dumbbells are enough to stimulate change. Cardio, the lifeblood of circulation. Cardiovascular exercise, like walking, swimming, cycling, or dancing, isn't just about endurance. It directly impacts your metabolic health. Strengthens the heart, improving circulation. Lowers blood pressure by keeping arteries flexible. Enhances fat burning and reduces visceral fat. Boosts mitochondrial efficiency, helping cells produce energy without excess waste. Even brisk walking for 30 minutes a day can reduce the risk of metabolic syndrome by 25 to 30%. High-intensity intervals, HIIT, short but powerful. You don't need hours in the gym to improve metabolism. Studies show that short bursts of intense effort, followed by recovery, can significantly improve insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial function. Examples include cycling hard for 30 seconds, then pedaling slowly for 90 seconds. Repeat 6 to 8 times. Walking quickly uphill for 1 minute, then strolling on flat ground for 2 minutes. These brief workouts train your body to handle glucose efficiently and condition your heart without long sessions. Daily movement, breaking the sitting cycle. Here's a shocking fact: even if you exercise for an hour a day, sitting for long stretches can undo many of the benefits. Long sedentary periods slow metabolism, reduce fat-burning enzymes, and cause blood sugar to spike higher after meals. The solution? Move every hour. Stand up, stretch, walk around, or do a few squats. These movement snacks remind your metabolism to stay awake. Why movement acts like medicine? Exercise is not just about fitness, it's literal medicine. For those over 50, it reverses insulin resistance, improves mood and lowers risk of depression, strengthens bones, preventing osteoporosis, boosts blood flow to the brain, protecting against dementia, enhances mitochondrial health, slowing cellular aging. Think of movement as your most accessible prescription drug, with no side effects and lifelong benefits. Chapter 8: Sleep, Stress, and Hormones, the invisible drivers of metabolism. We often hear "eat less and move more" as the solution to health problems. But two silent players, sleep and stress, can make or break your metabolic health. They are the hidden levers that determine whether your diet and exercise efforts succeed or fail. Sleep, the nightly reset. Sleep is not passive rest, it's when your body performs critical maintenance. Poor sleep disrupts nearly every metabolic pathway. Cortisol overload. Just one night of poor sleep raises cortisol, the stress hormone, which increases blood sugar and makes the body resistant to insulin. Craving chaos. Lack of sleep disrupts leptin and ghrelin, the hormones that regulate hunger. This is why sleep-deprived people crave sugar and carbs. Fat storage. Chronic sleep deprivation shifts the body toward storing more fat, particularly in the belly. Goal: 7 to 9 hours of restorative sleep. That means deep, uninterrupted cycles where your brain clears toxins and your body repairs itself. Tips for better sleep. Keep a consistent bedtime. Dim lights and screens an hour before sleep. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Stress, the silent saboteur. Chronic stress locks the body into fight or flight mode. Cortisol stays elevated, which raises blood sugar, increases fat storage around the waist, disrupts digestion and gut balance, impairs thyroid and sex hormones. Stress literally rewires your metabolism for survival, not longevity. Solutions: practices like meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, journaling, or even simple deep breathing for 5 minutes a day can lower cortisol levels and stabilize your metabolism. Nature walks and social connection also act as powerful stress antidotes. Hormonal balance after 50. As we age, hormonal changes influence metabolism profoundly. Women, the drop in estrogen during menopause redistributes fat to the belly, lowers insulin sensitivity, and increases inflammation. Men, declining testosterone reduces muscle mass, slows metabolism, and contributes to fatigue. Thyroid, sluggish thyroid function, common after 50, lowers metabolism and energy. Working with a doctor to monitor hormones, through simple blood tests, can reveal imbalances. In some cases, lifestyle changes, supplements, or hormone therapy may help restore balance. The big picture. Sleep, stress, and hormones form an invisible triangle that controls metabolism. Ignore them, and diet, exercise, progress stalls. Master them, and your metabolic health thrives, even without changing much else. Chapter 9: How to measure and track your metabolic health. Forget the bathroom scale, it only tells you about gravity, not about health. To understand your true metabolic state, you need better tools. Blood sugar, the foundation. Fasting glucose, ideally under 100 mg per deciliter. Higher suggests insulin resistance. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over 3 months. Goal, under 5.7%. Post-meal glucose, checking levels 1 to 2 hours after eating can reveal hidden spikes. Some people use continuous glucose monitors, CGMs, which provide real-time insights into how foods affect their body. Cholesterol profile, quality over quantity. Instead of just total cholesterol, look deeper. Triglycerides, high levels indicate poor fat metabolism. HDL, good cholesterol should be high enough to protect your arteries. Ratio of triglycerides to HDL, a strong predictor of insulin resistance. Blood pressure, the everyday metric. High blood pressure damages arteries silently for years. Home monitors provide more reliable data than occasional doctor visits. Aim for around 120/80 mmHg or lower, unless advised otherwise by your physician. Waist circumference, the belly fat alarm. Excess abdominal fat is a strong predictor of insulin resistance and fatty liver. Women, ideally under 35 inches. Men, ideally under 40 inches. This simple tape measure test is often more predictive than BMI. Inflammatory markers, the hidden threat. Blood tests like CRP, C-reactive protein, can reveal low-grade inflammation, one of the earliest signs of metabolic dysfunction. Tracking tools for modern health. Wearables, smartwatches can track heart rate, sleep quality, and activity. Home devices, blood pressure cuffs, glucose monitors, and body composition scales. Lab work, annual checkups to measure cholesterol, HbA1c, and inflammation. Progress is not about pounds lost, it's about stability, balance, and resilience in these numbers. Chapter 10: Thriving Beyond the Scale. After 50, chasing weight loss is like chasing shadows. The truth is, your metabolism, not your weight, determines how you age. What thriving looks like. By focusing on metabolic health, you gain steady energy that lasts all day. Sharper memory and focus thanks to improved blood sugar and brain circulation. Stronger muscles and bones that protect against frailty. Lower risk of diabetes, heart disease, and dementia. Longer, healthier lifespan with vitality. Not just years. Weight loss as a side effect. Here's the secret: when you support your metabolism with good food, movement, sleep, and stress balance, weight often adjusts naturally. But whether you lose 10 pounds or none, the real win is hidden inside your arteries, your mitochondria, and your brain cells. From survival to vitality. Thriving after 50 isn't about shrinking your body, it's about expanding your life. It's about building a metabolism that fuels joy, resilience, and strength for decades to come. So stop chasing the scale. Instead, chase function, vitality, and freedom. Because in the end, what matters most isn't how much you weigh, it's how well you live.